With Anarchy with a Sorlag.
Prepare to fight. Round begins in 3, 2, 1. Fight.
Problem.
As we start, and Dad starts at Bone, so gets the machine gun, LG, and Heavy right away, and PepCo. Starting off at the shotgun, delays Heavy for a long time. And Undead only now gets his armor. PepCo missing all of that acid, and Undead moving in. Not a lot of health. Oh, and PepCo with some very good try, but gets the first frag, and should want to pounce in. Let's collect the light armor first. Oh, but gets caught underneath those stairs, and the Mega goes Undead's way, and we got a tied game again. Now PepCo just... oh, what a rocket from Undead! That one will send PepCo back.
Oh, that feels good.
PepCo even trying to lay a trap here at the Red Room that gets caught himself. The LG though is quite good, and Undead just gets that light armor and bolts. Now he finds a way to get those 2 light bubbles before going in for the... The laying it a little bit may be confusing PepCo. The LG Undead is doing wonders today. The first 1.5 minutes, and that rocket's so good, but the shoddy from PepCo is even better. Oh, the shotgun of Undead, he pounces in right off the spawn. But now Undead hurting a little bit, finds a lot of bubbles, gets himself back up to speed. Oh, the LG from PepCo so strong. The rockets from Undead as well, and PepCo's so low. Undead might want to make his way there. Eats all of that acid. Oh, and the damage from the LG together with the acid. Just way too much for Undead to handle, and we got to for a game all of a sudden. With PepCo starting to look good. Oh, fantastic defensive play from PepCo to hold on to a stack there at the top of the bones area, trying to maybe wait out on that light armor. It doesn't want to give any easy damage to Undead as he moved away to the other light armor. Oh no! Gets caught by the LG at the Red Room, and Undead gets an easy kill. Still a lot of stack left. Good enough to deal a lot of damage. Doesn't get the Mega, but PepCo is low. Tries to get a ton of damage, but that's just not enough. And then stack was just way too much. Oh no! PepCo hurting a lot. Oh, and then Dad gets his frag to get in the lead, and he even gets the jump on PepCo. But the LG, not enough ammo in that case. Oh, but he manages to get the frag before the Mega spawns. But he's eating all of that acid damage. Forced to use the inject, just not die. As PepCo is still after that frag, but Undead can match that speed. Going in strong with that ASMR, that CPMA movement. Trying to bounce in through the choke point, eats a ton of damage. The shotgun from that range, not really good enough. Not really good enough. Oh, and that gets caught in the corner. Still manages to get out of danger. Oh, and PepCo, it's a fantastic move. Manages to stay clear, and then forced to pop that inject. Otherwise, not enough stack to do anything, and those rockets! Unbelievable! They get Undead to just over 40 health. PepCo a little bit too early on the Mega. Won't be able to collect it without some challenge. And he even gives position away for it. So does unde4d as he tries to go for other means. He gets some stack back, and that means that PepCo gets that Mega for free and even the light armor. So that's a fat Sorlag, but that's also a fat Anarchy. But that heavy totally changes the complexion of this game, and the players trying to be really slow. unde4d, oh, here some 15 damage, not too much. Trying to make his way to the heavy side of the map. The Mega should be just about to spawn. Oh, and unde4d dealing a ton of damage to Sorlag. But PepCo going right away for the Mega and using the acid to keep unde4d at bay. Should be getting that heavy, but eats a ton of damage, and that is actually looking better than the health. Not after the LG fight, and all of a sudden PepCo just takes the lead. Oh, and then now this LG gets the tie back, not without eating a direct rocket to the face. So, oh, that rocket, it's still a little bit low. Can't risk too much. Gets that heavy and gets out of the way. Still not in the clear. Certainly not after a lot of that damage from range from PepCo. A little bit too early on the Mega. But both players extremely low. Whoever deals damage first should win this one. PepCo wisely going for the health bubbles instead of going straight for the Mega. And that's exactly how he wins it. Actually wins both items, but then that's a very good range damage. Trying to get that stack low, manages to escape in between rockets, but there just aren't any bubbles to go around, and the LG from below catching PepCo a little bit. Now after this elf bubble, he could have made his way onto the Mega, but he's content with giving it away for now. Oh, that was a ton of damage, certainly won that fight, and that wins him the heavy. And the Anarchy, when he starts collecting those heavies and starts having a lot of armor, starts becoming really, really dangerous. As he's not just a guy on a skateboard with a little bit of health, he's a guy on a skateboard with a lot of health. PepCo must watch out. That light armor will go a long way for him. Oh, and unde4d even picks up the Mega without PepCo doing any damage, but the rocket jump certainly surprising PepCo, and PepCo getting caught in the LG area. Not much he could have done there. And now unde4d looking good with almost max health. PepCo must pull something out of his hat here to make something happen in the last 2 minutes. unde4d is starting to look more and more. He's going to be the winner of this one. That tribal sure opened things up. unde4d making his way through the teepee. And he's just going to give up on that fight to collect his heavy. Go there again! PepCo getting caught up. Oh, PepCo surviving just by a little bit of health, but dies eventually. That's unde4d with his 8th frag of the game, 2 in the lead. PepCo going in again, realizing that he won't have time if he doesn't try to make a move. And unde4d going a little bit greedy for the damage. Actually loses on the fight, and all of a sudden it's a 1 frag game with a minute to go. I'm sure that hurt, but now unde4d must play slow, must keep PepCo low, as to not get chased around the map.
Stopwatch.
Yeah, PepCo does get that Mega, and he has the speed to catch up to Anarchy. Oh, but unde4d with all of that agility, using everything he's got, gets a heavy for free. And PepCo must do some stupid risks now to try and catch up, and all of a sudden he's 64 HP, and that is way over 200. Mr. 3 tier pick up some items and go for it again, and that content of keeping them low, not going in for the kill, not risking eating 2 rockets and dying, and that's it for this one. First map goes for Undead on a nail biter of a mat, so a lot of damage from Undead, and with some good control he was able to convert it, and gets the win here in the first map. So now as we move on to Vale, Galena versus BJ, damage versus utility personified. It's going to be a very, very interesting one. If Undead manages to get a lot of that overstack going, then it's going to be really dangerous.
Prepare to fight. Round begins in 3, 2, 1.
We
Fight.
need to regroup. May the power
As we
heal
start,
you.
Undead collects that the heavy right away, doesn't go for the rockets, as he felt there could have been a trap there. Tries to get a rail angle, but fails, and PepCo only now gets it and uses the dual wield to deal a ton of damage onto Undead, but Undead manages to escape there with his life, so he'll be able to snatch away a ton of these resources, and even gets the light armor by the LG.
Die yet.
And that's more a way to keep PepCo away from it, and that rocket was incredible! First blood goes to Undead, and it actually looked like PepCo might have had an advantage, but that rocket was just something out of this world. And now Undead sitting only on 1 totem, the first totem of the game got destroyed. Now Undead even lets PepCo get away with getting the heavy for free, and now we get but it's really tied up, and then there's a rocket jump to get that heavy, and that's a lot of LG damage.
Sustains you.
But we're only on 1 totem. Goes to collect all of those time shards by the railgun area. Now again, the heavy goes to PepCo. And that is not in position to get them back, so he concedes it. So those rails
Initiated.
mean that PepCo was not running away with a lot of control here. Oh, and that now dealing a ton of damage. PepCo a little bit on the back foot. Well, the duel wheel from PepCo might dispel danger for Undead. Undead gets his item anyway and manages to escape, and PepCo dies. That was a very good rail from Undead. Now Undead should have a second totem up.
I will not grant you that privilege.
So he's starting to set himself up on the railgun area. Now, even as PepCo gets the heavy, not a lot of good stack over Undead, but that will help. Oh, and Undead making a little bit of a blunder going through the teleporter, eating a ton of damage, but those totems will help out for sure. Oh, that was a ton of damage. That rocket should keep PepCo at arm's length, and now he has totem overstack. PepCo should he goes to the teleporter, that will be a ton of damage. Oh, and that totem is gone. But, two of them are still up, so Undead's overstack will keep on living. The next time he sets a totem down, PepCo being extremely low makes his way to the railgun room, only to meet his demise. And Undead should get that third totem up now, and he does. That's a ton of health. And 2 totems just got removed. Well, make it 3 in fact, as he finds the last one. But the damage is done. Undead is running away with a lot of overstack, and that's a talefrag. That's a huge frag for that. The stack-wise, that just wasn't gonna happen. And, all of a sudden, he gets 2 frags in the price of 1. And Dad's still without a lot of the weapons. Oh, manages to get a very good rail on the PepCo. Using that totem to heal himself up, possibly even booby-trapping that teleporter. But he gets caught and gets destroyed. Now as both players slow it down and that trying to stack back up, PepCo trying to keep the control train going. Well, that rail was huge as now, and then it's hurting, not in the clear yet. Should be in the clear now. Light bubble, but PepCo finds him and the direct rocket ties the game up. And Undead just concedes it. No idea what happened there, but we got a tight series. So the lower bracket semifinals is set. It's going to be Inns versus Stone. So the winner of that game will play the loser of this one. It is Baldoro, it is Baldoro. Yeah, what a mad lad indeed. No, looks like they're gonna repeat, so I don't know what's going on really. So I take the point back from PepCo.
Prepare to fight.
Folks, we don't give up.
Round begins in 3, 2, 1.
So as we start here, PepCo starting at the heavy, and then starting at mega. No real delay on the items. Oh, and the first totem of the game gets made right away. Oh, and then that. Oh, those were very good rockets and greedy PepCo trying to get another angle. Oh, and then that catches him with the LG. That's a ton of damage. Oh, and they trade.
Lead tied.
And that is a fantastic trade.
My life sustains you.
So unde4d wisely using that totem to heal up PepCo on the chase. That LG just keeps PepCo at bay. That rail is actually quite good. Both players hurting right now. Nobody can really show themselves. Unde4d already not railable, and so is PepCo. And that getting that heavy has a lot of stack going for himself. That's a huge rocket waiting for PepCo potentially to fall down, but he goes and chases him away. And that's a huge frag. Up 2-1. Oh, and now even 3-1, and there's enough stack to maybe survive a rocket launcher push if doesn't get caught anywhere. PepCo's rockets are amazing as we see here. He pushes him with the LG, and that should have no chance, and he doesn't, but he deals a ton of damage. That doesn't look like someone just picked up an item. That was just the damage that could have dealt. Oh, and that's a ton of damage with a starting machine gun, but that's a ton of damage with the rockets from PepCo as well. Again, trying to set himself up in that area. Rigs PepCo into firing that tri-bolt up the stairs as he went down the stairs. Now the game looks a little bit like it's in PepCo's favor control-wise. That trying to slow it down a little bit. All of those time charts. Oh, the totem damage. Don't know how much that will do, but the healing will certainly come in handy. And yeah, now PepCo should be able to get both items here as he gets himself onto the mega, and that's not even gonna contest for the mega. Oh, PepCo leaving the item just as it spawned. That could have gone a little bit wrong with this another map. Oh, and that very well played there with the railgun, trying to grind away the stack of PepCo. Only 2 seconds away until the heavy spawn. There's just not a lot of it to go around, and oh, that tri-bolt was awesome. He even manages to chase him dead, and nothing he could have done, and we got a tied game. Steal away the heavy, steals away the heavy, but at what cost? This is extremely low after all the tri-bolts. PepCo though still going strong, still with a little bit of health overstack.
Stopwatch.
He manages to perpetuate that control a little bit further with the Mega, and now with this, it's even more so. And PepCo is actually doing a good job of finding those totems, and that hasn't had any overstack yet today.
Stopwatch.
Well, that would have been a very good rail for that to hit. Now PepCo looking quite strong, doesn't know exactly how to find the undead watch. Leading into the damage, waits for the item, gets the trap in. Actually, it's undead who manages to deal the most amount of damage in that encounter. And PepCo now kind of relegated to the poverty items, and that rail is gonna go a long way.
5-minute warning.
But PepCo finding the Mega, finding the light armor, that's a huge amount of stack right there. And he's just looking so strong. Knowing exactly where to position himself to restack the quickest. Now Undead trying to make something happen. Practice heavy. Sees that it's failed, leaves the area, tries to go for the Mega to do the same. Don't know how much time he actually has until PepCo finds him in the corner. PepCo decides against going into that rail room. Oh, those rockets doing so much damage to that. That's another frag. The Undead leaves calls it the GG, and that's a point to PepCo. So now we got a tied series as we head into the last map. It's gonna be Deep Embrace Nyx versus Visor. So certainly a matchup we haven't seen too much of yet. Nyx, of course, with the added movement. Visor countering Nyx's Ghost Walk. Perfect if Nyx just wants to get away from you. To stack back up, and you can just pop your piercing sight and the tracker down, not let her get away. Of course, the piercing sight has a ton of uses. This should be a very interesting matchup.
Prepare to fight. Round begins in 3, 2, 1. Fight.
So as we start now, PepCo on the rocket launcher and the net on the LG, and that goes for the light armor in the middle. The PepCo chases him down with a shotgun and actually gets himself onto the Mega, and Undead gets onto the heavy. Oh, and that was a very good early rail. Pops that Ghost Walk. PepCo wisely waiting a couple of seconds before he pops his vision. Tracking at that as the last seconds of being invisible. Undead with a little bit of a stack over PepCo. Absolutely not anymore. Oh, and Undead even missing that jump. That spell's doing one, and PepCo gets the first frag of the game. The winner will move on to the grand finals. We'll move on to the grand finals, yes, and the loser will move on to the lower bracket finals.
The
very good LG into rail from PepCo. Now undead forced to get back to the drawing board. Manages to steal away the heavy and invis. But PepCo reading him like a book, knowing that he's to the LG, but still not good enough, as undead also reads PepCo's beat. And that was a fantastic railgun. A fantastic rocket to stop undead in his tracks. And now as both players keep the controlled dance going, and that trying to find some armor, finds the heavy, and that should be good enough for now. As he's trying to play this one quite slow, moves on to the TP side. Oh, and PepCo missing the layup. He had that rail completely set up, but ends up missing it anyway. And then unaware of PepCo's position, eats a ton of LG damage. And another rail, and now he's railable himself, but that's a good rocket to keep him at bay. Now and then, listening to vision getting popped, pops his invis just as the vision is ending, just to be able to escape. Does that escaping, still not in the clear. At least it's not railable anymore. But that stack just won't do compared to PepCo's stack. Oh, that rail would have been fantastic to open for the next fight. But they trade rails. And that's certainly hurting here. Using the rocket jump. He absolutely didn't need to. Oh, and what a direct! That direct will do so much work for him. And that's a masterful invis, catching PepCo completely by surprise. And now the tables have turned, and Dad is in the lead stack-wise and control-wise. Oh no, PepCo 110 HP, one move out of place, and he's dead. Oh, and the Dad can't capitalize on it, and the PepCo will heal back up on the heavy. Trying to keep Undead at bay. And that will manages to get the position for that light armor, even damaging himself to deny it. Oh, this LG fight should absolutely go in Dad's way, and it does, but the Dad is hurting. PepCo could be pouncing onto this one and getting a refrag. Oh, but then Dad wisely does not show himself, shows himself now, but with that invis manages to escape and doesn't show himself for the mega. Keeping himself alive, just collecting bubbles wherever he can find them. Could be dead now, and he should be not delivering a rail, and thus keeping PepCo extremely low himself. Oh, but that rail off the spawn! Undead will be collecting the heavy, or so I thought. Does spawn there, but now only with a nail gun. That's just not gonna cut it. Luckily for himself, luckily for Undead, PepCo misses the jump. So Undead has a little bit more time to do whatever he wants. On that rocket, I was scared for a second there. It really looked like Undead could have thrown him out of the map, and that invis was just completely cut off by a good use of the piercing sight. And now whoever manages to pick up the most time shards before the abilities spawn at the same time should be at an advantage of ability. Oh, and that falls onto all of that shaft. PepCo completely seeing it. Using his piercing sight. Those are good rails from Undead. A little bit nullified by that heavy, but that still goes a long way into keeping that overstack a little bit down. Oh, PepCo falling into that shaft, and then that should win this one, but it's a trade because of PepCo's rocket. That should be PepCo's favor, but PepCo gets thrown out of the map. And that keeps a lot of a stack. Oh, and he even delivered those rockets. Now PepCo absolutely hurting.
Now you don't.
Oh, and not being able to use the invis because PepCo popped in the piercing sight, and that was actually quite smart. Oh, but PepCo might get caught here. Ends up not getting too damaged. This move now is extremely low, and all of a sudden we're gonna win for a game. And then not really doing the best job of timing that heavy at this time. Tries to deal some damage at the Mega and fails to do so, so that actually gives PepCo some time and space to get himself a little bit of an overstack. Oh, that invis is not the best that I've ever seen from Undead in this matchup. Manages to get past that mega area without getting damaged. Those rockets, very good for both players. But PepCo's LG just a little bit better. 2 flags might be all she wrote. Suddenly this third frag is so huge. Again, PepCo missing that jump again. Undead being very aggressive. PepCo suddenly a little bit on the low side. But Undead, because he's a light champion, doesn't have a ton of health to go around, but that surprises PepCo and he kills him with 4 HP. Oh, and all the tribal misses. So close that Undead has been all this time getting the frag, getting this one. Oh, and again, PepCo with a fantastic rocket. Oh, finally gets his frag, but 4 frags in a minute and 20 is shady, absolutely shady. It's gonna be
Don't worry,
really
you'll get
difficult.
much more than you do. We'll drive you back.
That goes a long way. That's
time.
one. PepCo though should be getting this mega. And then getting a lot of stack. Oh, PepCo activating that piercing sight at the perfect moment. Oh, fantastic rail from Undead. PepCo's hurting, absolutely. Anything can finish him off here. 2 frags in 40 seconds.
Down before you shoot yourself.
If Undead manages to pull this one off, it's going to be an amazing display of skill. And PepCo gets the frag. 30 seconds for 3 frags might be too much for Undead. That goes a long way. There's no heavy for Undead though. 2 frags in 20 seconds. They gotta be back to back right off the spawn. Undead bobs that invis. Trying to get a leg up on PepCo. PepCo only now gets his piercing sight. This should be a frag for Undead if he manages to connect some of those shots. Doesn't have any LG and the game is over. PepCo moves on to the grand final. And Undead moves on to the lower brackets final. That was a fantastic series down to the wire.